morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Afro Scientific Spirituality. My name is David West, wishing you live and direct from the heart of Africa. If this is your first time on this channel, this is the place where we separate the facts from the fiction, the science from the superstitions, and the concept from the misconceptions about African spirituality. Okay, in this channel, I try to bring out the spirituality of Africa in the easiest and simplest form that I believe can be able to be delivered to people. Today, I'll be doing a book review on the book titled Destruction of Black Civilization. This is a very, very interesting and powerful book that I think is very, very important to the study of African spirituality. This is a book that was written by William Chancellor, and it took him about 16 years of research to write this book. And he actually went deep in depth into the history of Africa, and he was able to bring together so many evidence, so many documentation, so many facts about what really happened to Africa for the last 5,000 years. That's right, 5,000 BC, before the birth or creation of the so-called Messiah Jesus Christ. What happened to Africa? Where was Africa? Who was Africa? All this is contained in the book. Nowadays, many Africans, especially recent people that are waking up, that are now realizing that Africa is in a whole load of mess, are always asking this question: how did we end up in this mess, in this shithole that we are in now? We that are the cradle of civilization, the root race of the world, the origin of mankind, of humanity in this planet, how can this race now be at the back seat of events that are happening in the world today? What happened to us? How did we fall to this level that we are in now? Many people are asking that question, so many Africans. Well, if you want to know the answer, this book, Destruction of Black Civilization, have the answer for you. This is the book you have to read, because the writer really went in depth to explain how the ancient Africans were living, the kind of technology, spirituality, belief system, mindsets that they have, worldview, and how they gradually things started happening, and how they gradually fell to this level, to the level of captivity, where they became practically slaves to other younger races on the planet. The book really went into details to narrate what went wrong, how the African spiritual and rulership system begin to develop cracks, how constant attacks from other enemies, backstabbing, acrimony, divisions, and disagreements crept in to destroy the continent. The whole story, it contains dates, contains time, contains physical evidence. It is not just a story, it is a documentation of facts, because there are evidence to prove the validity of what is saying in the book. So this is a book that every African must read, and they need to read it. For anybody that wants to practice African spirituality, you need to know the history of Africa. You need to know who the real Africans are, who they were, what was their mind view, their world view, so that you can be able to understand the problems, the unique problems of the continent, and you can be able to see why Africa is the way it is today. So I always recommend this book for everybody that is coming in to study African spirituality. All students, including white people, black people, you must read this book. It is very, very important. You want to study African spirituality. You want to become an African spiritualist. You want to know the secrets of the spirits of Africa. You want to be able to learn how to use African magic, African root work to change reality, to improve your life. You just cannot do it effectively without knowing the history of Africa. It will not work for you. You will always have problems, and you will not be able to balance your spiritual and physical aspect of your life. You need to evolve with time. Right now, we have so many African spiritualists that are very vested in spiritual practices. They know how to do root work, they know how to do spells, how to change reality, but they don't know history. You see many of them, they have this power, they have this deep knowledge in Africa. They even know so many things, more than me. But you find out that their life is not, their physical life, they are suffering. They have not been able to use that knowledge that they have to be able to move their physical life to a respectable standard. You will see them in the villages with all this advanced, all this ancient knowledge of African spirituality. They are still living in a mud house, in a thatched house. They are still suffering. They have still not been able to bring developments, even electricity, good drinking water to their communities. Why? Something is wrong. You know what is wrong? Lack of this historical knowledge of who they really are. That lack of this knowledge is what is bringing that spiritual darkness to them, to make them that believe that by holding and suppressing this spiritual knowledge, they are actually doing good for themselves, where in fact they are doing bad for themselves. They are actually suppressing knowledge that could have been used to move and advance their life and their civilization and their environment forward. We have the problem of secrecy in African spirituality, whereby many native doctors, many spiritualists always hide knowledge. They don't tell people things, they don't teach people things, they hide all these secrets that can be used to help humanity, because they believe that they don't want people to know their power, or they don't want people to live better lives, or they want to be the only one that we have the key of knowledge, the monopoly of knowledge, whereby if you need something, you come to them for everything. That way they can get respect. But they don't know that by holding all these secrets down, you are actually holding yourself down as well, whereby you are not going to move forward in life. You are going to die with all those secrets, and your role in life will become like a waste to humanity, because you were not able to use your talents to really impact, influence the life of people positively around you. So all your spiritual knowledge is now such a waste. It's just like the parable of the five or 10 virgins in the Bible. I don't know anymore. That the owner of the house gave some talents to keep, to wait for him. Some took their talents and they multiplied it. They got extra. Some went to bury their home in the ground. They did not give anybody. Then when the owner of the house came back, some said, "This is my talent. This is what you gave me. I multiplied it. You have extra." Some said that this is what you gave me. I buried it in the ground. I did not give it to anybody, and now you can have it back. The owner of the house got offended, say you are a very wicked person. He put those ones in jail for not being able to use what he gave them to help people to multiply it. So that is where I see these people that are holding spiritual secrets in Africa. I have seen so many cases and heard so many stories about African spiritualists, very wise, ancient people that know so many things. They have done many great works. They died with their secret with them. They didn't pass it on to anybody. They didn't pass it on to their children. They were so selfish that all the knowledge that they have, they could not use it to help their own people. It was just for themselves alone, and they died, and those knowledge died as well. So for you to be able to practice African spirituality effectively, you need to know history. Because if you don't know where you are coming from, you will not know where you are going. And if you don't know who you are, anybody can tell you who you are. Knowing history or having a good knowledge of your history, that is simply the philosophy of know thyself. That's the whole spiritual world is talking about. Know thyself, know thyself. Know thyself, and thou shalt know the gods. It was written, even the Greeks took it from Africa and wrote it at their temple, the Oracle of Delphi. Know thyself. The first step of spirituality is to know yourself. Knowing yourself, what does it entail? Know the history of your people. The history, the original history of the world, not the fake one, not the whitewashed version that Western academians are pushing in our universities, trying to tell Africa that they came from nothing, that they're like Tarzan, so that Africans will be brainwashed and depend on them forever. For you to practice African spirituality, you need to study African history from African scholars, people like William Chancellor, people like John G. Jackson, people like Professor John Eric Clark, people like Dr. Ben Yusuf Ackerman, people like Sheikh Anta Diop, people like Frank Fanson, people, we have so many of them, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, people that really know the real history, people like Professor Ivan Setiman from Guyana. These are African scholars, real African scholars, Afrocentric scholars that we have been able to compile African history with lots of scientific evidence that are undisputable. And the Western world knows this for a fact, and they are hiding it from the majority of the population of the world. In fact, what they study in Western secret societies is African history. If you want to know African history, you need to belong to one of these Western lodges. That's why you see in their schools, in the Ivy League schools, Yale, MIT, Oxford University, they always have these secret societies, Skulls and Bones, Templars. What do you think they study in the secret societies? Freemason, Rosicrucian Order. What they simply study in those secret societies is African history. I know this because I have been a member of such society. I have been a member of Rosicrucian for 6 years. In fact, I learned about African history from Rosicrucian Order because that is all they teach about in their order. The history that they refuse to teach to Africans in school, they teach it inside the secret societies. In fact, the great knowledge of all these world, all these early secret societies in the world that you are hearing their name, Templars, Freemasons, Rosicrucians, Skulls and Bones, the secret they are teaching inside those lodges is simply African history. Nothing more, nothing less. So, for you as an African, you need to know your history because your history is the greatest power on this planet. That is, it like it or not. So, knowing your history is very, very empowering. So, anybody that wants to study African history, African spirituality, you must know the history. You cannot escape it, except you are lazy and you are not really serious. And I have seen that this trend in people that have come to me that they wanted to learn, all of them that have gone through the process of learning the history, yeah, I noticed that they have become very, very strong in their practice. Because knowing the history is like having a solid foundation, whereby you base your spirituality on a foundation of truth, of strength, of wisdom and knowledge, whereby it cannot be broken. No matter how the kind of lies or the narratives that other people are trying to spew out there. Right now, we have so many alternative narratives about African history. Some school of thought are saying that Africans are not the root race of the world, that some people from Samaria or one place came before Africa. That is pure bullshit, BS. They are just people that hate Africans so much, some wicked spirits that have decided that they are not going to give credit to Africans for anything in this world. That even the position of the root race, they'll still want to drag it with us. So when you hear such narrative, you just need to remove those people, you block them from your mind. Those people, anybody that will deny your existence and your place in this planet, that person is your enemy. That is what you need to know first of all. So there's no need to try to debate with such a person where all the evidence are there. I keep saying this, if there is any holy land in this earth, if there is a place that they will say this is an holy land, it is Africa. It is not Israel. It is certainly not Saudi Arabia, Mecca. It is the continent of Africa. It's the only holy land. Okay, this is where life began on this planet. And this is probably where life will end on this planet. This is the home of all the natural resources, the home of everything good and bad. This is the spot. So if you want to study any kind of spirituality, the most powerful form of spirituality, the most oldest, most ancient form, the most easiest form is African spirituality. There's nowhere to go. I'm not saying this that because I'm from Africa. It's a fact. It's a fact. So the good thing is that Africa is for everyone. It's just a throne. He who is wise enough and strong enough will sit on that throne. It doesn't matter your skin color. That is why you see people from outside the continent controlling the continent. Because people living in the continent at this present time of day have forgotten who they are. But people that remember, and people that know, will take on that throne for now. And it changes. There's time for everything. If you ask me, how did Africa fail? Many people are asking this question. How did we fall from the level of ancient Egypt, from Ethiopia, from the great golden empires of West Africa? How did we fall into this level? Well, my answer to that question is simple. Everything have time and place under the sun. It was simply the time for Africa to die. Everything that have birth have a death on this planet. There's a cycle. Okay? The civilizations, the dynasties of ancient Africa have reigned for thousands of years. Thousands of years. If we say we want to use Egypt as a yardstick because there's a lot of documentation on ancient Egypt, they have dynasties of kings that range over 18,000 years. That is not a pre-dynasty, dynasties, kings reigning over and over 18,000 years on record. You cannot see any modern civilization after the fall of Africa that have reigned over 1,000 years. Look at the Greeks. How long did they reign before they fall? Look at the Romans. How long? Look at the Turks. How long were they in power? The Ottoman Empire. Look at some other ancient dynasties. None of them have been able to last more than that of the Africans. Then Let's take a look at this modern so-called Western civilization that just started not more than 400 years ago. Current Western civilization that are supposed to be in power for now, they are not even up to 1,000 years safe. With the way they are behaving now, I don't think they will even last the next 300 years because there are so many cracks there. They are already going to see where they have taken us within 400 years. They have almost killed half of this planet. Climate change, greed and capitalism, and short-sightedness. These are people that claim that they are supposed to be civilized, that they brought civilization to the world, technology. These are the technologies that ancient Africans, ancient Egyptians, ancient Ethiopians refuse to practice because they know very well that these technologies is going to pollute the environment and destroy the earth. But yet, these are the same technologies that Western civilization has adopted of massive pollution. And now we are killing the planet. We are having the issue of climate change, which is now almost irreversible. And I believe we lead to the natural demise of this planet. So this current civilization, Western people, I don't think it will last more than 1,000 years, honestly. A new civilization will take place, probably from Asia, and probably them themselves will fall because they are also following the footsteps of the Westerners of massive pollution and destruction of the environment. So the earth will die its natural death due to the activities of human beings. It is not if we don't stop our current way of living, this is what will naturally happen. Nothing will change. So what is left for us is to either move to a new planet or we transmigrate to somewhere else. For people that are already in the spiritual path, whichever comes, they are already ready because they know that life does not end in death. It is people that are so attached to materialism, those ones that are the ones that we actually suffer. But people that are spiritually conscious, I don't think that we have any problem adjusting to any reality they find themselves. So, for study of African spirituality, this book, Destruction of Black Civilization, is very, very important. And it is a must-read for everybody, especially foreigners. I've come across white people that want to study African spirituality. I gave some of them the book. I noticed that many of them could not read the book. Not that they don't know how to read, but what they discovered in the book was too much for them to carry. The truth was too much for them. The burden of the truth was too much for them to accept. So they cannot read it. They cannot come to terms with it. So they ran away. There was this particular woman I met online, a white lady. She saw my profile, saw my videos. She said she wanted to learn African spirituality. She was very interested. She tried to get very close to me. Say, okay, you really want to learn this stuff? Anybody can learn it. Everybody out there, all children in Africa. But the first steps, you must read the history so that you will know about Africa from the eyes of the African. So you can be able to understand, to see how we see the world, so that you can be able to think how we think. That way you can be able to approach the ancestors not as an outsider, but as a person with greater understanding, as a sympathizer, as somebody that really wants to work with the ancestors, work with the spirits of Africa, from a place of knowing, not a place of ignorance. So it is very important. So she tried to read the book, but later on she could not come to terms with the horrors. When she began to read about the horrors that have happened to Africa, and the pain, the trials, the tribulations, that the people have passed through. It was too much for her to bear, coupled with the fact that these trials and tribulations and pain was caused or instrumented or how would I say, orchestrated by people of our own race. Maybe her ancestors might be directly responsible for causing this kind of pain. She just could not come to terms with this reality, because this reality shattered all what she knew, shattered her own version of history, her own version of the narrative she had been taught. So it was just too heavy for her to consume. It was too heavy to absorb. At the end of the day, she ran away. She blocked me on Facebook, blocked me on all channels of communication. I never saw this lady again. I didn't blame her. Well, that is the story of Africa, people. When you read this book, this is a book that will change your life. You will never be the same again. As an African or as a person that really want to know, you actually see this, what really happened, the evidence and the pain, the tribulations that we went through. Most Africans, after knowing about the truth of what happened to them, the first thing that they normally go through is the emotion of anger, serious hatred for all things white. Most things they now begin to see what have been done to them, what have been taken from them. They will first of all experience it's kind of catharsis, purging of emotions. Then some of them get very emotional. You will weep, cry, feel all sorts of painful emotions when you know what have happened to your people. Then the mistake some of them make is that they got trapped in that emotional state. You don't have to be trapped there. What have happened in the past have happened. Now we are living in the future. You need to absorb that pain. Let that pain reawaken your DNA, your melanin. It's going to restructure your worldview, and then you have to rise above it so that you can be able to function and live as a human being and fulfill your quota, your responsibilities in this lifetime. That is what's naturally supposed to happen. But I have seen the wrong thing that some African spiritualists, misguided ones, are doing. What they aim to do in their groups or their sects, they try to trap people in the pain of slavery, the pain of what has happened to us, of the white man did this to us. They want to trap people in that emotional state of anger. If you are trapped in that anger, that hatred, you will end up becoming, what I will say, a black racist, a black supremacist. You will never rise, your spirituality will never grow. You will never move forward. You will never make constructive relationship or friendships with people from other races. Because you will always be viewing yourself as a victim. You will blame the white man, you will blame other races for everything that has happened to you. That is why you have not been able to move forward in life, and that is why you cannot move forward in life. You will now inculcate that victim mentality into yourself, which is very, very bad. You are not a victim. Okay? You are not a victim. You are a living being of internal consciousness, internal boundlessness. So, no matter the obstacle that have happened to you, the pain and tribulation, you can be able to harness that as a fuel to move to a higher level of evolution, a higher level of spirituality, a higher level of attunement in life. By this great tribulation that has happened, that the black race have witnessed, we have kind of been elevated spiritually above all other races on this planet, like it or not. But many people don't know this. Even many black people don't know these facts. So by virtue of what has happened to us, we have a collective consciousness that interconnects with all black people and can easily be able to, how will I say, there's a way you can move like osmosis. You can be able to move within all races. You can be able to adapt and become flexible in dealing with spirits from all systems, all kinds of workings. So we as black people, our spirituality is unique that we don't need to actually invoke spirits. They need to invoke us. We just need to make pronouncements and things will change with the right knowledge. Like me, I don't do much ritual. I don't invoke spirits. I just simply make simple pronouncements and things happen. I believe that is how black people's spirituality is supposed to work for them. So when I see spirituality of other races or people, they are, for me, I'm not trying to cast it, but for me it's a long process of doing things. Because by virtue of the fact that the African race is the oldest race of this planet, we have some advantage in dealing with nature spirits, in dealing with spirits of this, because our ancestors have been in attunement with them for so long. And coupled with the fact that we are very, very much connected to the planet than every other race, due to the fact that we are like part of the planet. We are the closest race of humans to this earth than all other race. It is a scientific fact. So our spirituality is direct. If you can practice this right, it will be easier for you to work and do so many things. But the problem is that many of us don't know this thing. We have been brainwashed to be doing the wrong thing. So we are actually the people feeding this egregore of religion, of Christianity and Islam, that is actually killing us. We are the ones giving it our power. So the more we become conscious and take back our power from these fake religions, take back our attention from them, the more these religions, these things will die their natural deaths. But we don't know these simple facts. Okay. So our spirituality is like most of these deities, Western occultists, they are evoking every day. They are actually our spirit. They are us. They are our spirits of our higher self. When we dream at night, that higher self that we came from, those are what they are invoking. But we don't know this. But with the right knowledge of knowing your history, reactivating your DNA, you can begin to commune with that higher self directly, and you can begin to start focusing on your life, straightening your life by not giving your energy or attention to things that are sucking you dry. Okay? So the knowledge of history is very, very important. In fact, it is the only initiation that you need to study African spirituality. This is another secret. Know thyself, know thyself. Everybody is saying this, know thyself. This is what knowing thyself, knowing your history. Know thyself and thou shalt know the gods. Know thyself. You must know your history. Once you know your history, you find out that you don't really need any middleman to guide you in your path. You started taking your destiny into your hands and making constructive decisions to move you in the right path. You will actually be seeing what will happen in the future. Your vision of seeing into the future determines how deep your knowledge of your past is. So in order for you to see far into the future, you need to go back into the past to discover what really happened there. The more you dive deep into the past, the more you can actually see very far into the future. That is how it works. That is how we time travel in this very easy process. So history will open you up. That is why history is the most important subject in the world. Real study of real history. It cannot be overemphasized. You need to know it. You must know it. You must read this book, Destruction of Black Civilization. Highly recommended. Everybody that wants to study African spirituality, you need to read it. I don't care if you are black, blue, or purple. If you don't know history of Africa, your spirituality will never be strong. The spirits, the ancestors will never listen to you when you're talking to them. You will just be weak, like talking empty words that have no value, no power. But when you know who you are, when you are speaking with the ancestors, you will feel the weather changing because when they know that this person knows himself, this person knows this or herself. So when you're talking, you're making pronouncements. They are actually responding because you are talking from a place of knowledge, a place of power, a place of wisdom. But when you don't know this, you're making empty pronouncements. Nothing will really happen because you don't know who you are talking to. You don't even know yourself. So this book is a must read. It's a very powerful book. The book will change your life, especially if you know nothing about African history and spirituality. The book will totally transform you and you will never be the same again. So that is the power of this simple book. You don't need to do any ritual, any 21 days ritual for something. You don't need to pay people any money to initiate you to African spirituality. This book is your first point of initiation. This book will initiate you. After reading the book, if you want to continue, you can continue. If you don't want to continue, you are free to go back to your normal life, but at least you know something. So this is the main reason I'm bringing this book review for you, because it's a very, very important book. It is free to download on the internet. I downloaded it on the internet. So many people downloaded it. It's a must read for all Africans and African spiritual practitioners wanna be or will be. Okay? So this is what I have for you today. Questions and comments are welcome. And for those people that are having some deities that like tobacco offerings, that don't smoke, people like me that quit smoking, this is what I bought for my deities that like cigar. This is a perfume, tobacco perfume, and the deity accepted. I don't want to call their name on this channel, but they know themselves. So if you have that deity as your friend and you're having problem of burning tobacco or something, get this to replace it. This way, it's a good replacement, okay? It's a Cuban perfume. Very nice gift. Okay? So, I wish you a very wonderful day. And questions and comments are welcome. Once again, like and share this video. Hit the notification bell to get notice from me as soon as I post a video. And I will see you again in the next video. Take care and bye.